Sometimes I feel like sewing is a superpower because, of course, I can make whatever clothing I can imagine, and I can tweak those pieces of clothing to fit exactly how I want them to. And other times I feel like knowing how to sew feels kind of like a curse because I know I can do better than ready-made. So if I want to add something to my closet, I feel like I have to make it, which takes more time than simply purchasing something. Specifically right now, that is the battle that's kind of going on in my brain because I am on kind of a personal style journey and I'm learning so much about myself and my style that I want to add pieces that I see because I feel like they'll be perfect for my closet. Then I'm like, no, I should make it because then I can tweak the fit and get all of that just right. But because of that, I know it's going to take some time to add things to my closet so I can have a whole collection of items that truly reflect my personal style. So today I wanted to share a roundup of items that I've made or altered that helped me discover something about my personal style. For context, I would describe my style as art teacher chic, and I love to wear color, but my number one priority when getting dressed is being comfortable. What you do for your job really has an impact on your personal style, and I feel like that's why my personal style has changed so much because I'm not working in an office anymore and I'm spending so much time in my sewing room. So I'm trying to figure out what I really like wearing in my studio and on camera, and art teacher chic is always what I'm drawn towards. Now that I don't work in an office, I'm definitely learning that I don't feel like myself in like completely serious professional clothing. So my more polished pieces need to have something more relaxed or playful about them. Otherwise, I'm not gonna wear it. Actually, this is perfectly embodied by the first piece that I want to talk about. So let me just get into it. Actually, before I get into this top, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Nabila, and I make videos on sewing and sustainable fashion here on YouTube. And I want to dabble in more style-centric videos. So if you like that kind of content, I would love it if you would subscribe. It really helps my channel. Okay, so going into this button up, I like to call this my art teacher top. It was a plain white button up that I thrifted and I just was not wearing it. I think honestly I thrifted it because a classic white button up is a closet essential according to so many lists, but I just really was never wearing this because wearing stark white feels like uncomfortable to me. I think I'm just always afraid that I'm gonna get it dirty. And I think there's something about a stark white button up that feels too like professional to me. Like, let's be real, before I was filming myself sewing, I'd be sewing in like a big baggy t-shirt with my hair in a bun. So it'd be a pretty big difference for me to go from that to wearing a little professional button up in my studio. So I spent just one afternoon adding all this rickrack to this button up and it just feels so fun and playful. And I actually have been wearing this top ever since then. So this was a huge success. It's crazy how just adding the rickrack made this top so much more wearable to me. So yeah, I love this top now. And I think I mentioned in the video that I made this that I was a little nervous to wash this shirt because it's white with all these bright colors, but I will say I've washed this a couple of times and I've had no issues at all. So that is definitely a win as well. So since we're talking about just a couple of hours of work making a huge impact, I wanted to mention cropping all my shirts because this was seriously one of the best things I ever did for my personal style. So in case you missed that video, I took a bunch of t-shirts from my closet that were all too long for me. I cut them shorter to fit me better and then I hemmed them with the cover stitch setting of my B68 machine. This was a huge deal for me because I really wear a lot of t-shirts. They are a huge staple in my wardrobe and I find them extremely comfortable to work in. And I guess it's not too far off from the oversized t-shirt and messy bun look that I would rock if I was not filming. But tailoring a ready-made garment so that it fits my body is such a big deal and such an easy win too. I know not all of my takeaways from each of my pieces are going to resonate with everybody because everybody's style is different, but this takeaway can really apply to anyone. I think everyone would benefit from tailoring their casual clothing. Just those little tweaks will make such a huge difference. I feel like what sewing has really taught me over the years is that those little details really matter. Okay, since we're talking about wardrobe staples, I have to talk about my lane pants. If you've watched any of my videos, you probably saw this coming. So obviously I love love the Lane pants, especially since I have perfected the fit of mine. I'm actually wearing my gingham pair right now, but I specifically wanted to shout out my leopard print Lane pants because they were the most out of the box at the time that I was making them. So they helped me discover so much about my personal style through wearing them. So if you didn't watch that video, I altered these to be more of a lantern or barrel shaped pant. And I feel like wide leg pants are a little bit outside my comfort zone. And I did not own any barrel shaped pants or anything in that curved pant silhouette. So when I made these, I was taking a little bit of a risk that I might not like them and I might not ever wear them. And that's also the same with leopard print. I don't own anything with leopard print, so I was taking a risk on like if I actually was going to like the look on me. But I am so happy to report that these are getting so much wear. They are probably my most worn piece outside of the house. It's a little bit hard for me to wear them in my studio actually because they have a baby corduroy texture. So if I'm working in my studio and sewing and threads are going everywhere, threads are obviously going to stick to these pants. But yeah, I'm so glad I took a risk with these because they really could have ended up not being my style and I would have put so much work into making them. But I'm so glad that they're getting so much wear. Side note, it really sucks when you spend so much time sewing something that your idealized version would love wearing and then you just never wear it. I hate when that happens. And I feel like that happens a lot for me with specifically dresses. So that's probably why you don't see me sewing a lot of dresses on my channel. I also wanted to shout out my linen Lane pants. I wear them so often. I love that they give the look of jeans, but they're so comfortable with the elastic waistband. I know that Rag & Bone popularized like the jean sweatpant trend that I feel like is going on with other brands kind of duping that vibe and making like a lighter weight denim. But I really feel like this twill linen gives exactly what I want when it comes to like the look of denim, but it's so breathable and lightweight and perfect for summer. So that was a huge win for me. I have even worn these on planes. That's how comfortable they are. And then obviously my gingham pair with the little ruffle detail at the bottom, I wear a ton. It gives the same vibe as like the bloomer look, but it's not too out of my comfort zone or too girly for me. And you've probably seen that I made a green pair of Lane pants in a double gauze that kind of ended up as a fail because I didn't realize that you probably shouldn't be making pants in a double gauze fabric because the fabric tends to grow. So even though they don't really fit right because they are definitely growing, it's actually not a complete fail because I still have been getting so much wear out of them. I've been wearing them for my daily walks and just kind of rolling the waistband up a little bit. And actually I have worn them out once. I think we had just gotten back from a walk and my husband and I just jumped in the car to go to a quick and casual dinner and someone actually complimented me on those pants and I was just so shocked and I felt so giddy to get that compliment because I actually got a comment that said that if they had seen those pants out in public, they would just compliment the person, and that's exactly what happened. So I just thought that was so sweet. So yeah, even though they don't have the perfect fit, I would still say they're not a complete fail because I am getting a lot of wear out of them and someone complimented me without seeing what the waistband situation was. Okay, next up is this thrift flip that I did that was inspired by the Free People Inspire tee. So it is a men's t-shirt that I cropped and then I used the excess fabric to make this shape of sleeve that's kind of squared out like the Free People Inspire tee. So at the time that I made this, I really didn't own many oversized t-shirts that I would wear like out in public because I always felt like that kind of baggy look makes me feel like I am like swimming in my clothes because I'm pretty petite. But because this t-shirt is cropped, I feel like I can pull off the more baggy style without looking like I am just drowning in the fabric. And I liked this top so much and I wore it so often that I went ahead and I made a second version of this Inspire tee. But for the second version, I made it out of an old golf polo and I love how colorful this one is as well. With the two of these tops, I ran into a pretty interesting style realization, I guess, where I realized that I don't really like wearing logos, especially when I've altered something about the top. So I feel like the logo doesn't really apply to the design. Like for example, this t-shirt had a Ralph Lauren logo right here. And so I just covered it up with a little patch and I put a little star on there because I thought that would be a cute addition, because the Ralph Lauren logo was like a dark green. So I wanted just a little pop of color. So I thought that would be a cute way to add it. And then for this polo, I added like a seamless patch. I don't even know if you can see that, but I print matched it. And then I just did a little blanket stitch all around, and I didn't add anything to it because I kind of wanted it to blend in with the background, and I really just wanted it to not be noticeable. Okay, so speaking of duping tops, I have to talk about this top that I found on Pinterest that I recreated. It was inspired by a blouse from Pilcrow, which is Anthropologie's in-house brand. And I absolutely love the shape and it felt pretty simple to me. So I made a video tutorial walking you through how to pattern draft this top for yourself. And for this version, I used fabric from a men's button-up to recreate this top. So I actually had to take it in from the sides to make all the pattern pieces fit. So it wasn't as oversized as I would have liked. So I made it a second time with this beautiful cotton voile fabric from Lyrical Fabrics in this juicy Tangelo plaid. I love it so much. And I have a video on this top too, in case you're curious. But because I was looking up this top so much to get different pictures and different angles of it, the algorithm gods knew that I was on the lookout for this top in particular. So actually, I was able to find this top on ThredUp. So obviously this isn't something that I've made, but I wouldn't have been able to find it if I had not spent so much time looking up pictures to recreate it. I also feel like I wouldn't have realized that this style would work for me so well if I hadn't been wearing this top over and over again, because this is kind of like the dressier version of this top. So I just made this top, so I haven't worn it out yet, but I really feel like I am gonna get a lot of wear out of it this summer because it is so comfortable, kind of similar to a t-shirt, but just the dressier version of that. And I'm really inspired to make more blouses that to me feel as comfortable as a t-shirt, but they look a little bit more dressed up than just a t-shirt. In this video, I also wanted to shout out the hobby of knitting, because picking up the hobby of knitting has allowed me to have 100% wool sweaters that I never would have been able to afford brand new. This specific sweater is actually 50% Angora and 50% merino wool, and it is the Rhodes sweater by Ozetta, I believe. I'm calling this my Baba sweater dupe, even though everyone that is duping the Baba sweater is actually doing, I think it's Ozetta's Lakes pullover. But yeah, I don't think that saddle shoulder would look that good on me. So I like that this sweater has this kind of like garter stitch detail on the shoulder. It kind of gives a similar vibe, but it's not so bulky. But yeah, I love everything that I have knit so far. Everything looks so expensive, and it's such a great hobby for mindfulness, but it's also a great hobby when it comes to elevating my personal style. It's about to be summer here, so I haven't worn this sweater too much, but I wore this sweater like all through my New York trip in January when there was like fully snow on the ground, and it kept me so warm and I felt very stylish in this sweater. And then for my last little addition to this video is actually something that I have not made yet, but I will feel very fulfilled stylistically once I have made it. I really want to sew some maxi skirts this summer. I feel like I've had this kind of mental barrier when it comes to buying a skirt that is ready-made, because I feel like skirts are typically too girly for my style. But I have this one skirt that I wear a ton that I thrifted, and it's a bias cut skirt with a zipper. So it's really cute and I love it so much, but I really want to have some skirts with an elastic waistband just so they'll be a little bit more comfortable. And since I feel like I mentally struggle with the idea of skirts, I feel like I really need to be the one to design a skirt for myself, because then I can kind of decide on the style and make sure that it's not too feminine to be outside my comfort zone. I have been buying some fabric to make some skirts with, so you really should subscribe if you want to see what I design. I really love the look of like asymmetrical skirts, so that might be something that I design, or a skirt with like a handkerchief style hem, something a little bit more boho. But I also have been obsessed with the types of skirts that I've been seeing Hayley Williams wear on her tour. She just looks so cool. Obviously, I can't get away with this completely sheer look, but I love it. I also have been really loving the type of skirt that I've seen DIY Daisy make on her Instagram. It's kind of like her uniform to make this drawstring skirt that looks pretty simple and just so clean and effortless. But yeah, I really need to make some skirts because I feel like that is a part of my style that I haven't been playing with recently, and I'm really excited to style whatever I come up with. Okay, that is all the items so far that I've made that have really leveled up my personal style, but I would love to hear what you are making and what you are wearing over and over again and how you're styling it in different ways. I feel like all of these pieces make me really excited to get dressed, so I would love to know about any of those pieces that give you the same kind of feeling. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!